Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning back in for another episode. Today I'm excited to be in the basement bait shop because I'm going to do a little rod building on this dreary, rainy spring day. And I think I'm going to get to see what the future of rod building looks like. And that's this guy specifically. This is the American Tackle Tsuka II handle. So this is a one-piece reel seat handle system. So this whole thing slides onto the blank and you takes away having to measure all your different grips. If you like to build a split grip, you're not going to have a rear grip, a handle grip, your reel seat's built in. Everything comes in this one piece. Now this is a carbon fiber reel handle seat. I don't know what you want to call it. It's a one-piece reel seat, I guess. And from that standpoint, it's extremely light. Is supposed to add a ton of sensitivity to the reel and the feel of the rod. I'm excited to build this. So I'm going to be building it on this guy right here. This is going to be the NSJ 872 blank by MHX. Let me get it out for you. So this is our NSJ 872. Not going to be able to turn it for you. One of my absolute favorite blanks to build for my finesse presentations. I'll use this pretty much for everything from throwing tubes to throwing wacky rigs. I can fish a drop shot on it if I want, but it's pretty much an all-purpose 7.3. It's a light medium, maybe a heavier medium light blank, fast action rod. One of my absolute favorites. So we're going to build it on the Tsuka II handle. Now, the first thing I want to point out with respect to this is because your rod blank is tapered, it's not going to fit all the way down to the reel seat. Now, in this case, they want you to be able to use this handle with different blanks. And different blanks, of course, are different sizes, and most will not fit down through the actual handle of the Tsuka II. So the first thing you're going to have to do is measure it. And if you're building a spinning rod like I am, or a casting rod like they also have reel seats for, you're going to have to do measurements to determine the length of the rod that you want. So in this case, this blank is a 7.3 blank. If I slid this in, it's going to go probably about 7¼ inches. That's roughly what it adds to most spinning rods. But remember, because your tapers and your blanks are different, in some cases it may be 7½ inches, in some cases it could be less. In general, with your bait casting rods, it's about a 6-inch difference. So in this case, because I want to keep the 7.3 overall length, I'm going to cut off roughly 7¼ inches. Now I'm going to have to do the measurements, figure it out from that standpoint, but I do want to note that if you just slid it in and glued it in, you're going to be adding significant length to your overall rod. That is also a cool feature though, because if you're looking to increase the length of your rod, you can do it with the Tsuka II. I just want to make you aware that if you just glued it in, that's not going to be the case. So we're going to build this for you. I'm excited to go through the process. You know, in most cases, you've got a lot of different steps. You've got the measurement, different gluing processes, and different measurements. You're going to have, for me, I like to build a split grip system. So if I'm doing that, I'm going to have a butt grip. I'm going to have my reel seat. I'm going to have a couple of nubbins. It's going to be more of a process. A lot of measurements, a lot of gluing, a lot of cleaning up. In this case, it's going to be some arbors, some gluing, and a little bit of measuring. We're going to slide it in, let it glue. So I'm excited to see how this goes. And let's walk you through the process. All right, so in this case, we're going to take the Tsuka II handle. We're going to slide in the NSJ 872. And then I've got a trusty measuring tape here. And I'm just going to measure it. So in this case, this goes right to just short of 94½ inches. So if my math is correct, that tells me that's 710½. It's a 7.3 blank, so it's adding about 7½ inches to my overall blank. So I want to create back down to that 7.3 blank. So I'm going to take off just a hair. I'm going to leave a 1/4 inch on, so I'm actually going to cut off right at that 7 1/4 just to make it the same length as the other rods that I've built that generally get about a 1/4 inch added on based on the butt grip. So we're going to take our marker, we're going to mark it up, and then we're going to get the saw out and just cut off a little bit of the blank. All right, so I've got my mark right here. I've taken a piece of masking tape and I've just covered the blank, put the mark on the blank. Now I'm going to take my coping saw and I'm just going to cut through that just to knock off that little bit of the blank. And the reason I use the masking tape is so that I don't get any frayed ends. It tends to keep the graphite together. Okay, so we've cut our 7 1/4 inches off. At this point, I'm going to take the blank. I'm going to take the little bit of tape off. I'm going to put it back in the handle just to get us our measurement to see where we're at. If I can get the tape off. There we go. We come in just a hair over 7.3. We're at 87 and about a 1/4 inches, which is right where I want to be to accompany just for the little bit of the butt cap going on. So the next step is to use some tape and to arbor up the blank. We want to have a nice snug fit with respect to the reel seat. But I got to point out one of the nicest differences to using the Tsuka II is that I don't have to use my reamer set to ream out any of the nubbins or whatever reel seat handle grips or grips that you might be using. That process of reaming out some of that material was always a mess, right? You'd grind it out and you'd have a bunch of different material, whether you're using cork or you're using wind grips. It was just a mess and you had to clean it up. In this case, we don't have to do any of that. All we need to do is take the tape and arbor up the blank. So the process for this, what they recommend, is to do 1 arbor down low and then 3 arbors where you have your reel seat. And that's it. So let's get started on that process. Okay, so we've got our arbors done. We've got the lower one to support the base. We've got our 3 done in the reel seat, which is what they recommend. Nice snug fit on all of them. Slides right up to our mark. I've also gone ahead and found the spine of the rod, so you can see I've marked that. So at this point, we're pretty much ready to glue. Now, the one other thing, the rod does come with a little butt cap. Now, the butt cap allows you to do a couple of different things, like you can add some weight to it, and you might have to arbor that up just a little bit to get a snug fit. In this case, this is pretty decent, so I'm probably going to put 1 piece of tape just around it to help hold, but I'm going to seal that up and glue this all into place. We're going to go ahead and prep our glue now. This is just the 2-part pro paste, so we've got equal amounts. We're going to take the resin, and then we're going to take the hardener, and we're just trying to get equal amounts. Looks pretty good to me. Go ahead and mix these up real good, and then at that point we can start to apply the glue onto the blank. So we've got our 2-part paste all mixed up, ready to go. Now, before I start gluing, I want to give you one quick tip, and that is to take just some masking tape and cover up the threads that would be at the top of your reel seat for your locking nut. That's just going to keep any part of the glue out, because that's the one area where you definitely could have some overflow of glue get into. And if you just cover up your threads, that's going to prevent most of it from getting within that thread work. Because honestly, from a cleanup perspective, that can take longer than any other cleanup aspect of building rods, because you got to really clean the glue out very good from those threads. So I like to cover up some of the threads just with masking tape, and then when I finish, I'll be able to peel that off, get most of the glue out. So let's pull the handle out. Let's put some glue across the top. Now in this case, you don't probably need to do the whole blank. You can do it if you'd like. I personally like to just do around most of my arbors. I feel like that's where the holding power is going to be. So we're going to cover the arbors up real good. As you can see, we've got our two-part rod glue. Now at this point, I'm just going to take the handle and slide this right up and in. You can see we're going to get our excess glue. I'm just going to spin it into position. Right there. Perfect. Now I want to line it up with my spine of the rod. Right there. Okay. So that's in, that's glued. Now I'm just going to clean up the excess glue. Like I was saying, I've got some just stir sticks here, so I'm going to take most of it off with that. Throw that away. Now I'm going to take my tape off. Trying to do it without creating a mess. Pull my excess tape off, and you can see I just kept most of that glue out of my threads. Now I can clean that up too real easily, just with an alcohol swab. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm just going to get my winding check, slide my winding check down into place. Take my winding check. Winding check on. Last thing, we're going to put just a little bit of glue onto our butt cap and finish her off, and then let her dry. There you have it, guys. That's the Tsuka II handle. We just put her on. Really simple and straightforward. Let's let this dry. It's done drying. At this point, I can go ahead and do all the thread work, get all the guides, get this into a usable shape. I gotta say, from a build standpoint, extremely simple process. Like way more streamlined than I was expecting. You take so many different steps out of the equation by using the Tsuka II. Now, having said that, I need to get this out and fish it. So I'm going to thread this up, and we're going to go ahead, put this to use, and I'm going to let you know what I think in the water. But initial thoughts from a build standpoint, very, very impressed. It feels great in my hand. I'm excited to use it. Now, you guys know I like my wind grips, so I'm going to be curious to see how this works. But let's get this threaded up and let's get out on the water.
Tsuka!
Chunky. That felt good. A Tsuka 2 handle. First couple casts feel pretty good. I like how that feels. Yes. That's a nice one. It feels so good, guys. Like it really, nice one on the hover rig. So, really impressed so far. Really impressed by the feel, how light it is. Just the overall feel in the hand is very satisfying. Like, and I kind of knew that as soon as I built it. It's like, that feels so good. Now, I've always been really partial to my wind grips. But in this case, I love how this feels. Now, I will say I think there's two things I don't like about it. Well, I won't say I don't like about it. So because I like the wind grips, I like to have a little bit more grip. It's really smooth feeling in the hand, which is great, except for the fact that, like, if your hand is slippery, like, I could see definitely having it slip a little bit. The other thing is I'd actually like to see the butt maybe a tad wider, just so when I go to grab it, I like to cast two hands. So from that standpoint, I might want to have it just a little bit wider, but it feels really good, really good. Like, in the sensitivity, so every bite I've had, I've really felt it good. So sensitivity wise, feel in the palm, lightness, I mean, I'm sold, to be honest with you. Like, I'm going to be making, I think, a lot more of these. Now, you know, from an ease of build, you guys saw in the build how many steps you save by using this over a traditional split grip system. You know, the only other thing I would do has to do with the top part here. I would actually shorten the locking nut. And if I shorten the locking nut, I feel like that would then flush it up and not have a gap here. But overall, I am extremely impressed. Extremely impressed. Like, you know, I saw it at ICAST. I was like, yeah, that's cool. That'll make building a little bit easier, but is it going to be something that's going to be worth the money? And in this case, I really like it. Really like it. So I'm going to be building more of these, guys. I really want to make a bait casting rod now to see how that feels too. But right now, from a spinning standpoint, you pair it up with a high quality NSJ MHX blank, and I think you're going to be extremely, extremely impressed. Oh, oh. Go get it, go get it, go get it, go get it, go get it. Oh. He's still there. And he got it. Hanging out by the big old boulder. well, nice smallmouth. Let him go. Guys, I'm really sold on this. The Tsuka II, the American Tackle, it's a new one-piece reel seat handle. Man, I'm just really impressed. You guys are going to be seeing me making more of these for sure. Spinning, got to try the bait caster, but if it's anything like the spinning, I'm going to be using it. And really impressed. So hopefully you enjoyed this rod build video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Stay tuned. We'll have a new video coming out tomorrow.